Welcome to Mirror Domains Movie News, your place for entertainment headlines, and indeed this is a live news show for movie fans, where we talk about things like Taylor Swift going worldwide. Oh yeah, are you a Taylor Swift fan? I think I'm somewhat of a Swiftie. We'll be talking about the Eras Tour movie that she's going to be having coming out pretty soon, actually. We got a bunch of horror headlines in here. Saw 10, Predator Prey 2, the new Halloween series, or is it a movie with Michael Myers coming along? Something's happening going on there. Paw Patrol opens up this weekend. Is there going to be another Hunger Games sequel? But we start off today's show by talking about Gareth Edwards and Rogue One. It was Rogue One reshoots. Yes, remember when Rogue One came out, the reports were going around that Gareth Edwards was removed from the movie because the studio wasn't happy with the ending. So they brought in this other guy to do reshoots. And it was his film from now on. It wasn't Gareth Edwards. Even though when you watch the movie, it says directed by Gareth Edwards. Yeah. And Gareth, he was a stand-up dude. He never came up to defend himself with all of the talk. So it became somewhat of the cultural understanding with all of us pundits that, oh yeah, it was that new guy. I forget, it was like some guy that was brought in to do the reshoots, and it was kind of like, well, that guy's really responsible for how good Rogue One was, because it was a huge mess before. Well, we don't know that, guys. We don't know that it was a mess. We only heard the reports. I still would have liked to have seen the Edwards cut of Rogue One to see how different that ending would have been. The reports that maybe Jin did survive. That's what the studio wanted, but I think he did want to kill them. It's just the way the events unfolded was different, for sure. Like, she got the blueprints and then she had to run to the tower along the beach or something like that. Yeah, so it was different. We've seen that in the trailers for that. So why are we talking about Gareth Edwards? Because he has a new movie opening up this week called The Creator. And he's been making the rounds. And of course, when he's out on the press tour, people are, well, you got to ask, hey, what about those Rogue One reshoots? So he's come out and said some things that are very curious. Now, the creator had an $80 million budget. Now, that's how you make movies. Pay attention to that, studios. You don't need these huge bloated budgets all the time. So Edwards compared studio filmmaking to an unstoppable machine. Yeah. You have to work at the pace that the machine is working at. There are times where you wish you could just stop everything and take a moment to figure something out. You can't. It's hard to talk about this in a way that doesn't sound like I'm not grateful for getting the opportunity. And yeah, whether if it's a Star Wars movie or an MCU movie, you kind of have to you're aware that you're in the machine, and there are mandates and edicts in there that you've got to keep it to what the big head honcho wants, right? You're the director of that movie. There's a continuum of that universe that you got to be mindful of, and Gareth knew that when he signed up for it, right? That's what I get out of that. So, Tony Gilroy, who did the Andor pickup reshoots for Rogue One. Both directors should have been collab on that project. I don't know. Because, Gilroy, he kind of ran his mouth a bit. And that's where the whole he saved Rogue One mentality came in. He said that he came in and he said, like, 75% of this movie's terrible, and we had to go back in and make it somewhat of a cohesive story, and blah, blah. It was a huge mess. It was garbage. And that's where I kind of lost respect a little bit for Tony Gilroy, because, like, dude, you're working on this film too, and you're calling it trash, and you're not being very professional to Gareth Edwards, who is a visionary. He does try to do different things. If you ever saw his indie movie Monsters, very small contained story, I like that one. And of course, he did the first Godzilla. So he's done Godzilla and Star Wars. So it's kind of like, that's the machine that he's talking about, right? Godzilla has a continuity that you have to take care of. But anyway, going back to the Star Wars quotes, quote, "Look, the only thing I can say is I was incredibly lucky. I got to make a Star Wars film. I won the lottery in that sense. The idea of someone as privileged as me in any way implying that it was anything other than the amazing experience that it was to some extent. Like, I don't have any empathy for that person. I don't want to be that person either. So that's a little bit of shade there, I think, towards Gilroy, who came in and said, that this was trashed, and he got a little bit hot-headed, Gilroy. And I know that a lot of people on the surface level don't read that much into it, but I still call it a Gareth Edwards movie. I do. I just wasn't very appreciative of the professionalism showed by Gilroy in that. So, refreshing take on Rogue One reshoots is humble, that you don't hear often. And from all reports, it wasn't like Gareth Edwards was put up his hands and said, no, let's go, let's fight. He said, okay, fine, if you're going to reshoot these things, it's not, I don't have time for it or whatever. Go ahead, do it. He handled it like a professional, and that's what I take away from Gareth Edwards there in that story, because as I said, he is a visionary director, and the creator opens up this week, and I am looking forward to it. The trailers look good. Unfortunately, it's going to run into Saw 10, and Saw 10 I think is going to be the number one take of the box office this weekend, and I'll be seeing them both. Now, I think I'm going to be seeing Saw 10 late Thursday night, like I'm talking 10 p.m., because for some reason they don't have 4 p.m. shows, and I got to go to a birthday party at 8 o'clock, and I'll dip early so I can get out to the 9 o'clock show of Saw 10. And then I'll go see the creator on Friday afternoon. That's just the way that we got to roll. I apologize. But we'll be back on Friday to do all the reviews and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Gareth Edwards, the creator, John David Washington, Gemma Chan, Allison Janney, Ken Watanabe, Ralph Ineson. Cool, he's in this. He's very iconic. You'd recognize his voice as soon as you hear him. Against the backdrop of a war between humans and robots with artificial intelligence, a former soldier finds the secret weapon, a robot in the form of a young child. And the early buzz about it is good. So Gareth Edwards, talking about Star Wars, champion. Yeah, I think he's good. All right, just to keep on with that Star Wars thing, Star Wars unveils a striking poster of Ahsoka confronting Darth Vader. Yeah, that episode 5 of Ahsoka was just like, wow. I was worried that the de-aging or whatever effects they used on Anakin would look terrible because of the last shot of episode 4, but I think that's going to go down as one of the best Star Wars things that Disney has done since they took over that episode. And the fact that we got Hayden Christensen acting with Rosario Dawson and the younger Ahsoka, it was just wow. I'm just still mesmerized by it, guys. If you haven't been watching our full watch-alongs, go watch that, because tomorrow, we'll be watching episode 7 of Ahsoka. So what is this new poster? Enough praise. No one is ever too old to learn snips. Well, I could have done without the snips. I know that fans of Clone Wars and stuff like that, because that was the nickname that he gave her. I like the throwback attempt. I would take out the little log line there, and if they did that, then that would look really cool. I like that, because you got the 3 lightsabers. Hers was white, and you got Anakin's blue one, and then of course you got Vader's red. I like that. That's cool. That's cool, man. All right. Some comments here. Tony Gilroy, who did Andor, picked up the reshoots for Rogue One, but both directors should collab on the project. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Taylor Swift is in the news today, and not because of her football game appearance on the weekend. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour concert film is set for global theatrical release. Now, originally, the Eras Tour movie that comes out on October 13th was supposed to be only a North American thing. In fact, they sold us that bill of goods that it was supposed to be an exclusive North American only kind of thing. I have my tickets already, guys. Do you got yours? It's going to be only on the weekends, though. So we got some new information here. Maybe if it opens up in more countries. Yeah, it's the studios are looking at it, or like the production heads are looking at it and saying, well, God, we're selling all these tickets. Uh, why wouldn't we open it up in a wider release? I know that they're thinking that perhaps that may take away from people buying tickets to the live shows. It won't. People will still go out and see the live shows. Like, I mean, how many times have you listened to an album and you still go out and see them live? It doesn't take away from it. I'm really looking forward to it. So, in 100 more countries, and I think that eventually towards the end of the run, like for the last couple of weeks, that they'll just open it up for every day of the week. You just, okay, fine. Everybody can go see it because this money talks, right? So, Taylor Swift herself said, the tour isn't the only thing we're taking worldwide. We've been excited to tell you all that the Eras Tour concert film is now officially coming to theaters worldwide on October 13th. So if you live outside North America, you can finally get to go see it. Tickets for the international locations outside North America will go on sale September 26th. So that's today, guys. September 26th. AMC theaters in the US is, yeah, they've pretty much all sold out. So that's cool. The Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Yeah, worldwide. Now everybody gets to see it in 100 more countries. So you have to go and take a look for the list of countries. But I'm sure like all the major ones in Europe, like the UK, France, Germany, that kind of thing, we'll be able to get it. I don't see a list here published. But it's suggested that it'll open with 75 million, and that's huge. But some people thought 100 million that this movie's going to open up. So we got Saw 10, The Creator, and the Paw Patrol opening up this week. Next week we have The Exorcist Believer, and I think that's the only one that opens up next week, right? Oh no, but then the week after that. So 2 weeks now, well 3 weeks now, I suppose, to Taylor Swift's Eras Tour movie, and that's good news for me because I am a Swiftie. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments below, and we will talk about it. All right, guys, let's take a little break here. There's my social media handles. If you like video games and stuff, come join us on Twitch. We play a lot of Street Fighter 6. We went through all of Final Fantasy 7 Remake. We play World of Warcraft. I just haven't figured out my schedule for Twitch yet, right? Like, I've just been... Well, what do I feel like playing today? Well, I was going to start a Tomb Raider, Rise of Tomb Raider yesterday, but I was like, nah, I feel like playing Street Fighter. Street Fighter is a little bit more topical. I'll have to figure out when I can put in Rise of Tomb Raider because it is like Final Fantasy where it's kind of like it's a story and it gets people involved and hooked into it. So it's got to be a time frame where I can just let it go, right? Day after day kind of thing until we wrap it up. What else can you find here on the channel? Well, the black hole reaction is under scrutiny right now. They've blocked it, so I'm trying to put some edits on that to get that out. But it'll be up on the channel soon again, hopefully. No One Will Save You. Full movie reactions up on the channel as well, and that's an alien invasion movie. Actually, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Suspect X is up on the channel as well. A thriller from Netflix. Yeah, that one was good. My reviews for Inside Out It Lives Inside, and Ahsoka is on Wednesday mornings, guys. So tomorrow morning we'll be watching episode 7. Haunting in Venice reviews up, and of course then you know that we do movie news here, usually 2 or 3 times a week. But I want to talk about this. Let's we're paused here just for a second. We are going to be changing up the flow of the show. I've just been tinkering around with my OBS settings, and I just haven't figured out how to do it exactly just yet. It's going to be a lot less formal. I'm still going to try to put in the sidebar for the most part, I think. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, though. Maybe I'll have to pull the stories previously, but what I want to do... Guys, let's face it, it's just not getting out there. People aren't watching it. So we've done it for years now. So it's kind of like, Hey, if people just aren't cluing in, YouTube just isn't pushing it out. We got to change up the strategies. I like making a lot of YouTube shorts. The thing about these topics is that they're very topical. So while they're relevant for today, it's not as if you're going to go back and watch a movie news show from 2 years ago, right? Um, of what happened on that day. Well, it's curious if you're like a historian, for sure, but it's not topical and it's not driving content. It's not driving viewers to the channel. So what I'm thinking about is we'll take like the top one or two stories that maybe will have a little bit more traction, like the Taylor Swift story, and we'll convert it into a short at the end. And I actually want to have it, I want you guys to be on board while I film that short. The problem is, see here, if I switch my settings over to, this is what I use to film shorts. It's not the right way. I tried flipping it, but as soon as I flipped it so that it's upright so you guys can see it, it changed all my profiles. So it changed, it even changed this one. So it's kind of like, I can't do that and have it switch back and forth. But there is an add-on apparently you can get so that you guys, I want you guys to be watching me while I film these things. And then like this big main show here will get chopped out into segments and then put up in the prime time later on in the evening, like say around 6 p.m. Eastern. But all the stories will be condensed a little bit, and the shorts will come out, and the short will be coming out in the afternoon. That's what I'm thinking. And you guys, because just people aren't watching the live show, and I've heard comments before saying that people want to, they're curious about these stories, but they would prefer it if I would cut it out into the small little segments. We'll see. We'll play around with it. But I need to get back into shorts, and it helps drive content. It helps drive people to the show. But anyway, enough about that. We just talked about No One Will Save You. Yeah, that alien invasion movie, No One Will Save You. Now, I was a little bit harsh on it when we watched it because my audio just wasn't working and maybe marred my experience a little bit. I didn't hate it. I thought it was a bold attempt. Brian Duffield was the director. Oh, and you see what happens when I switch? See what happens? Oh, so I can't switch. It ruins all my settings. So does that ruin my sidebar as well? Oh my God. Does that ruin my text? No. Okay, good. Good. That still goes. All right. So anyway, we've rectified that. No One Will Save You came out on Friday on Hulu or Disney Plus Stars if you had it. No One Will Save You filmmaker Brian Duffield breaks down his alien invasion thriller's wild ending. Yeah, when I watched it, I was a little bit harsh on it because I had some sound issues, but don't worry about that. I fixed that. So I said this when I first saw it. It was a bold attempt. The main character barely says a word throughout it. It was a very experimental type film, and it didn't exactly resonate with me right up off the bat. It was kind of like, do I like this or do I not? I understand that they're trying to do something different with it. And Caitlin Dever, she was fine in it. She did a good job, but it was very, it was like a concept type film, right? It had aliens in it, but for the first part, I was confused with them trying to say, okay, was it all in her head? Or is this alien invasion, home invasion thing really happening, right? Because they could have played it both ways. And the director has this big interview up on Hollywood Reporter about this. And so an alien invades her home and her friend's Maud, she accidentally kills. Oh, that was her friend? I thought it was her sister. So maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Yeah, there's plot details like that are kind of like, oh, if you weren't paying attention, then maybe I just lost of it. This leads to more aliens arriving on her doorstep, and we see that the aliens take a keen interest in her childhood photos with Maud. Are they just trying to get her to read on who we are as a species. Well, that's where I'm talking about the psychological angle, right? Is she just suffering from like a deep um, kind of depression about it, or some PTSD kind of thing that she did that with her friend? And what are the aliens trying to do then? Or is it all metaphorical kind of thing for her coping with it? Bryn is eventually abducted by a UFO. Yeah, so the movie does go into all that, and if it piques your curiosity, go check out my reaction to it. It's going to be a little bit different than what most people would think, because I am a horror fan. I do like aliens, and you'll see that my reaction to it is not all smiles and sunshine. Arglass says, I have a feeling No One Will Save You will end up being a cult classic. Me too. I think it'll come around that people will be like, this is different. And I said that in my reaction for it, that they were trying to go for a bolder kind of attempt. But apparently even Stephen King has seen the movie. And this will add to the fuel of it becoming like a cult classic, right? When you get a big celebrity like Stephen King talking about it. And he seems totally blown away by Caitlin Dever's sci-fi movie. Yeah. So it is the talk. And people are going to catch wind of this as it slowly picks up. Like when we did our reaction straight out of the gate, just the word of mouth just wasn't there yet. But it's been out for like half a week now, right? So it'll start to gain a little bit more traction. So what did Stephen King say about it? No One Will Save You. Brilliant, daring, involving, scary. You have to go back over 60 years to a Twilight episode called The Invaders to find anything remotely like it. Truly unique. Yeah, it is somewhat unique because they show the aliens and they show different aspects of what the alien technology can do. And it just kind of leaves you in the end kind of thinking, what exactly happened here? Yeah, and that's the part where some people may not like it, where it's not quite as forward. It's a little bit, I would say that it's ambiguous, but I think the director is making a definitive statement as to what happened in this movie, Brian Duffield. Maybe I was too harsh on it. Maybe I was too harsh. Let's go over to the tomato meter for it, and let's take a look at what people are saying, what other people are saying of it. Okay. Because I didn't publish a formal review about this. Showbird in the live chat says, "Hey James, hey man, how's it going?" 79% by critics, 59 by audience. So maybe that jarringness of it, kind of like, "Hey guys, come watch this alien invasion movie. It's really cool." And traditionally, people would say, "Well, that's a nice sci-fi. I'm expecting a nice sci-fi thing about aliens, and it to be a little bit scary." But because it is doing something different, maybe that's what people are putting a little bit off. But it will, I think, in the long run, Hourglass Vikings in the live chat is correct. People will come around to it, and maybe it will be a cult classic. I don't think it's a 7.9 out of 10, and it's not as low as a 5.9. But I would probably say either 6.5 or a 7 out of 10 for No One Will Save You. And I think I would be underselling it too, I think perhaps at a 7 or a 6.5. Let's see what people are saying. Bloody Disgusting, known for their genre and love of horror, says, in Duffield's capable hands, a journey through self-forgiveness gets transformed into a propulsive, nerve-fraying sci-fi twist on home invasion horror. So that's from Bloody Disgusting. They do horror movie news stuff on a website and stuff. So that's their bread and butter. So you would expect that perhaps they would like it. RogerEbert.com didn't like it. A tiring cycle of cat and mouse capture, release, and recapture sequences with no clarity. There is something there that happens too, where it is a little bit of a rinse and repeat kind of thing. And there are things in there that will make you a little bit angry. Like, okay, you're sitting there at the cop shop. Tell them what happened. You'll see my reaction to that. I had quite a visceral reaction to that, actually. The Guardian didn't like it. By the end of the rambling mess of a last act, it's clear that no one could save this. Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of people on the audience score didn't like it. But let's go back to some people who did like it. Let's pull up all the critic reviews. Let's see if anybody jumps out at me here, name wise, because if there's a name that I trust, I would prefer to share that and relate to that. Um, like a Matt Donato, perhaps. I thought he did post one here, and I think that he did like it. Um, but alas, I cannot find it. Kate Sanchez liked it. No One Will Save You is a gorgeous film and an atmospheric one that trusts its audience to solve the story without heavy exposition. Heavy exposition, huh? Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's Matt Donato. Duffield continues his streak as one of the more exciting filmmakers tackling genre fare, the sting of spontaneous. Love and Monster. Well, he wrote these, right? He directed Spontaneous, right? And his latest science fiction, Hair Raiser, all brim with heart and unexpected places. I really wish Perry posted one. I always prefer to see what Perry says about these things. Maybe she just hasn't gone around to see it. But No One Will Save You, guys. What do you guys think about that? Have you seen it? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. Let's move on with some more horror headlines. Saw 10 opens up this week, and the director, Kevin Greutert, I don't know how, I'll learn how to pronounce it, says that Amanda will be a major character. Well, it's revealed in the first trailer, isn't it, that she's going to be back in this one, and she should be, because she was in the first movie that was in that mouth thing, and then we learn in the second movie that she gets recruited by the Jigsaw, right? So it's kind of like you would expect her to be in there, because Saw 10 is kind of a prequel that happens in between Saw 1 and Saw 2, where he goes to Mexico to try to get himself cured of his cancer, right? I'm looking forward to it. And as I said, I think I am seeing it Thursday night at 9:50. So my straight out of the theater reaction will be very late, if not like midnight coming out for Saw 10. But it'll be the last thing I do before I go to sleep. So, yeah, that'll be what I'll be doing. Saw 10, really looking forward to it. So, Shawnee Smith back in it. I got no problem with that. He says here, quote, I would say that she's a major character in this story, and I really wanted to explore the area between what we see in Saw 1, where she's very vulnerable, recovering drug addict, and the kind of sassy rebel in Saw 3. So they want to show like a transition of it. But Saw 2, in a way, doesn't really count as a character development for her, except to show that she's working with Jigsaw. Yeah. This is an opportunity to develop her character more. And I am looking forward to this. I want to see how this works. I want to sit in the theater with my big bag of popcorn, and don't expect the same type of formula for Saw 10 as you would from traditional Saw movies, guys. Just the typical, oh, it's a new batch of people getting caught in his traps. He's got a moral lesson he wants to teach them. It's a different style. Yeah, a lot of those traps I think will come into play later on, but it's a bit of a different setup. It's a bit of a different angle to leading into those events. So that's what I'm curious about. Saw 10, are you guys going to go see it? Or are you going to go see the creator first? Who knows? Let me know in the comments. Arglass says the first hour of the home invasion was really intense on behalf of the actor's performance and the vibe of the aliens. I'm sitting at 8 out of 10 for No One Will Save You. Yeah, No One Will Save You. Yeah. Interesting. But let's go back to Saw 10 and the creator. Those aren't the only new movies opening up this week. If you are a younger person, there is something else opening. Paw Patrol. Right? Paw Patrol is opening up this week. I think I got that right. Yeah, Paw Patrol. There's a new Paw Patrol movie. People like dogs. Why not? No, thanks, Cinema Blink. Get out of here. And I wanted to highlight that because when I was doing my analysis of what the box office potentially could be, I was a little bit dismayed that I forgot about Paw Patrol, the Mighty Movie, because it is a kids movie, and while the kids won't go to the horror movie Saw 10, and they probably won't be interested in the sci-fi movie, Paw Patrol does have that capability of coming in at the number one spot, beating Saw 10. And it's possible Paw Patrol will even beat the Creator. There's the Creator. Oh, it's only at 410 on Friday? Come on, guys. I don't want to wait till 410. That's BS. So I'll have to go down to Kitchener to see that. 110. Yeah. Or maybe I'll go to... I'll go out to... Oops, not October 13th. Oh, you don't have Friday's numbers up, Landmark. Huh. Yeah, we'll see. The Creator, before Saw 10, I can take my gore torture on the small screen, but sci-fi has to be the biggest on screen. Well, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I will go see The Creator then and Saw 10 on Friday. Because I prefer to watch Saw 10 with less people in the theater, because that's the kind of movie where it's kind of like you'll have people on their phones not really paying attention to the movie. 10 p.m. I have to wait. That's 2 hours and 13 minutes though. I wouldn't get out until like 12:30 at night, and that's a bit late for me. Yeah, and at least Saw 10. Saw 10 is almost 2 hours as well. So, oh, my weekends, my schedule's all messed up. The weekend's gonna be a weird thing. But yeah, Paw Patrol. Let's move on. Hunger Games. Hunger Games prequel. Well, we know that the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is coming out, but the director of that has hinted at the possible Haymitch and Finnick prequel movie. I've seen a lot of headlines today with Finnick. I didn't realize that Finnick was like a big character. Now, I think the guy who played him is a bit too old now to go back for that. But Sam Claflin, right? He was in the first Enola Holmes movie. I think that was the last thing that I saw him in. He was good in it, but he's a good actor. I just do we need a prequel about these two people? Really? I like Woody Harrelson and Haymitch. I don't know. Francis Lawrence said, "I like being part of the original. I like being part of the series originally because the stories are great. But what always, but what was always gratifying was that there were always something. There was always about something. Susan Collins always writes from a thematic foundation. The original ones were all about consequences of war, about the state of nature. That's what makes them feel rich and not superficial. I think it's why they've stood the test of time, honestly. So, Panem, what's the pitch here? Finnick and Haymitch, however, I'd be really interested in looking at it and being part of it, but I don't know. I don't have any pull of just going, what? I would love to do Finnick's games. He's a great character, but that's the thematic underpinnings that make it worth telling and relevant. So he wants to do when Finnick ran the games. So it would be a prequel, yeah. Would you have to de-age him, or would you just? Yeah, I think you would have to recast him. The de-aging technology just isn't quite there yet, where it's economically viable. There are different techniques with the de-aging that they could try. I don't know. Maybe as a series, you could do it. Yeah, like an HBO series of Hunger Games. I think that would possibly work. Peter Dinklage in Songbirds and Snakes. He's the one that I'm looking forward to. He's there's just like look at all just his face there. The character in his face is just great actor. And of course, Viola Davis is in it as well. Uh, it's the supporting cast around the main characters, President Snow and whoever the girl is that is in it. Rachel Zegler's playing. I never read the book, so we'll have to see. We'll see how this all pans out. Would you see a Finnick, or is it not Finnick? Yeah, it is Finnick. And Haymitch prequel. Would you watch that? I said it before when the second trailer came out last week that Jennifer Lawrence said that she would be up to be coming back. Um, you got to greenlight that. Do something that moves the story forward when the Hunger Games are no longer relevant and the world has to rebuild, kind of thing, right? And people look to Katniss for inspiration, and maybe she's just kind of like, guys, I did my part. I'm not some kind of savior, huge thing, kind of thing, right? I'm not like some god kind of thing that should be worshipped whenever I walk around. Like there's some angles in there that could be used. Uh, Very interesting stuff. So we'll have to see. Next, Predator Prey 2. Yeah, I do want to see that. Dan Trachtenberg is a very interesting director indeed. Very interesting. 10 Cloverfield Lane, Predator Prey. He further teases his plans for a sequel. I think a lot of people would just prefer if they just took the Predator and put him in different time periods, like against samurai or ancient Romans or something like that. I don't think we'd have to continue on with her storyline, but let's see what he says here. Director aims to avoid common pitfalls of sequels by creating something unique and special. Yeah, and a lot of the sequel stuff, the traditional way is that there's a rinse and repeat with a few new angles thrown in. We don't want that. Trachtenberg wants Prey 2 to have its own identity and to feel like it could belong to any other franchise or genre. He would love to see Schwarzenegger return to Predator franchise. I think fans would like to see it too. But Schwarzenegger, I don't know. I don't know how they would do that. So he says, quote, you're finally asking the right question. For everyone who's been asking me about sequels, it's like, that is the thing, is that oftentimes someone does a cool thing and the sequel is just the next part. And then it's like, oh, well, then that's just following up the cool. That isn't what that thing was. And yes, so I'm thinking about the sequels could be the primary conversation was and always will be, what can we do that is also special that hasn't happened yet? Not just for the Predator franchise, but for the kind of genre in particular. So he's really thinking out of the box. He's really wanting to go far out there, which is good, which wouldn't be just a rinse and repeat kind of thing, right? All I can say is quite a bit in development phase is make sure that everything is only this movie. Only this movie can we get this kind of scene and that kind of sequence. Yeah. So he wants these like self-contained stories, right? Don't want to have a scene where it's like, oh, here's the token Predator scene in a Predator movie, right? That could have been in the other Predator movies, or that could have been in this Marvel film or Star Wars. The only in this movie will you get this type of thing. Yeah, and Predator Prey was so awesome, man. And hearing a director talk like this is refreshing. Unfortunately, because Predator is somewhat of that franchise, just like Gareth Edwards ran into it. It's a machine, and that machine moves at a certain pace. And if Dan Trachtenberg can't get his ideas articulated in time, the machine will take that away from him, and then they'll just do that common thing of the rinse and repeat, and that'll be not what us fans are clamoring for, because us fans would really like. I like what he's saying there about having it each kind of like self-contained things where you would only see that in this version of this Predator movie kind of thing. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Because I like how he dove into the Native American culture and the way that how warriors of that time would have reacted to a threat like that. And you would have only seen that in that movie. That's what he was talking about. So if you went to a samurai kind of thing, you would only see that kind of stuff, right? Or ancient Roman empire or something like that. There's curious stuff there. I would like to see it go far off again into the future, where you would see again. You got to. I would like to see Marines figured back into it somehow. Arglad's Viking says the way the Predators learn and evolve would certainly have Amber Midthunder as the first casualty of any sequel in our time period. Yeah, of course. They would come back and it would be kind of like, it would be like, yeah, let me challenge myself against the one that beat one of us before, but hey, I've got some new tech. I mean, that's the traditional angle that the studio would want you to have to play, right? So, I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep my eye on it for sure. Sicario 3. Sicario 3 is happening. Production will continue when strikes end. So, Benicio del Toro's former prosecutor turned assassin. What was the second one called? Day of the Soldado or something? I forgot. I didn't watch that one because the director didn't come back for the second one, right? According to the report of the Messenger, Sicario 3 will happen once the Hollywood strike officially comes to an end. With the what, actors or writers? Well, the writers one is coming down to the end pretty soon. When can we continue writing it? It was pencils down, but the idea is awesome. Producer Basil Iwank continued to add positivity. Sicario Capos will once again center on Benicio del Toro. I can't wait for Sicario 3. I would watch Benicio play that guy forever. I mean, I can watch Benicio in anything, but with that character, it doesn't get old. Maybe Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve directed the first one. And, of course, Villeneuve. Actually, guys, honestly, as much as I liked Sicario, it's probably my least favorite Villeneuve film. Because he's got such a wide range. I don't hate it. Guys, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that on the totem pole of Villeneuve films, it's far down there. But I think the subject matter of Sicario transcends Villeneuve, right? Like the producer's saying here that in Capos, it's more all about Del Toro and his character. Um, and there's definitely room for more. Like that scene at the dinner table when he comes up to the crime boss there, the drug lord, and he's like sitting with his family. And you're like, are you about to shoot these kids? And it's like, yeah, it's gritty. It's tough to watch. The innocence that gets caught up in the ugliness of drug trafficking and the cartels and Del Toro, Benicio del Toro played it perfectly. Yeah. Arglass says Sicario 3 is a long time in the pipeline. I would actually love Sicario 2. It was brutal. Okay, well, maybe I do need to check it out. I fell asleep during Sicario 1, but eventually got into it. That's a good call. I remember the pacing of the first Sicario was a little bit. Well, yeah, that would happen. It was much slower. But yeah, maybe I do need to check out the second one. Yeah, absolutely right, James. Sicario does transcend Villeneuve. Yeah, which is cool. And as powerful of a director as Villeneuve is, it's kind of like the whole concept of that world. It's very topical, and I'll keep my eye on it. Maybe I need to figure out where I can see the second one. Sicario 2. Is it streaming anywhere? Day of the Soldado. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Is it on Prime Video? Oh, it's on Prime. I don't have Prime yet. I discontinued my Maybe next time I order something on Amazon, they'll give me a little month. I don't know. All right. Moving on to what Chris Schober asked. Whoops, sorry. New Halloween movies or series. What's going on with that? Halloween franchise will continue. Miramax is searching for film or TV partners. So the David Gordon Green franchise that came out recently, the Halloween trilogy there, that was under Blumhouse. Blumhouse bought the rights to make 3 films, but Miramax and Akkad, is it the producer? They own the actual rights. And yeah, of course, everybody's going to have their opportunities at some point to have their crack at, well, here's what I would do with the Halloween franchise, and here's my pitch, Miramax. Is this something that you wanted to develop? And Halloween, again, transcends any directors or production houses. You knew when Halloween ends, the final Halloween movie, you know that that's not going to be the final one. It's going to come back in some iteration somewhere down the line, somehow, some time down the line. Miramax is taking bids from studios and streamers for the new installment, so the bidding is open. If you got a pitch and you got the resources and you want to try a new take on the Michael Myers story, Miramax is saying, come at us, Hoss. Because we want some of that cheddar. Money talks, right? According to the report, from what we understand, there's a massive bidding war going on with several different parties interested in vying for the chance to bring Michael Myers back to life. According to Bloody Disgusting sources, have also indicated that Miramax is open to both film and television projects. I don't know about television, because it's such a different format for a long-running Halloween series. Because you don't want to watch an entire episode about kids having a party somewhere, and you know that those kids are going to be the ones eventually going up against Michael Myers. Some side story. Yeah. So everything is on the table at this time. It's ultimately up to Miramax to field pitches and decide what's most appealing to them. So maybe I should write a treatment so that it's not my time yet, but maybe when it comes my time, I'll be saying this is what I want to do with the Halloween franchise. I've written one for Nightmare on Elm Street. That one's very interesting. Would I put Laurie Strode back in it? Would you just do a straight up reboot? Yeah, the door's wide open. It's open for different interpretations, and I would like to see somebody else come in and just try their hand at it, just much like the same way that Rob Zombie did. Because I think you would have to try it straight up from the reboot, right? And the thing is, with the Halloween, there were talks about, let's take it back to the anthology series. Now, if they took it back to the anthology series, it could work that would work better as a TV series if it was anthology-like. And I see what you said there in the live chat, Arglass. I love Friday the 13th, the series, and not adjacent to be seen. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. Chris Schober says, I can't believe they announced a new Halloween movie 2024. No, they didn't announce anything. They're just taking bids for a production company and a creator to come in and develop it. So it wouldn't be 2024. It would probably, if at the earliest 2025. But if they're just fielding pitches now, yeah, early 2025. Somebody would have to have the full script and working pre-visualization books of, this is what I want to do with the entire project. Oh, wow, good. I want to do that. Let's do that. Here's my budget. Here's the cast and crew that I want. It'll take me a month to round that all up and get the contract signed, and we'll be shooting by January next year. It's like, wow, that's very organized. So yeah, so even that for 2024, That's how organized it would have to be, but it's not like that. I'm thinking 2025 for it. But what would you guys like to see from this? Do you want to see a straight up reboot? Uh, do you want to see a continuation of the cult that brings back Myers? Do you want to see some supernatural element to it? It's like, no. I don't know. I don't want to see old man Michael Myers anymore. And it's hard because, again, it's how do we do this without having it be a rinse and repeat? Oh, it's just a new slate of young people, but it's 2024 people, young teens dealing with Michael Myers. You'd have to look at it the way that Dan Trachtenberg is looking at the Prey series. Something that can only happen in that universe. Something that you can only see by watching that particular iteration of Michael Myers. Very much kind of like what, as I know people didn't like the Rob Zombie movies as much, but how he worked in different angles about Michael having an affinity like to the masks, right? Different, bringing in a little bit of a different mythos to it. You don't have to drastically change it, but conceptually, the base of him just being a cold-blooded murderer, killing people, and being like an unstoppable machine is scary. So it's there. And people like, and it's got to be brutal because people like the brutality of it. Evil dies tonight. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I do like horror, and I would like to some resurrect our horror movie news show, because there is ways to expand the channel. Horror. If I just focused all in on horror, I talked about that yesterday. It could work. Get notoriety talking about horror films. Get notoriety talking only about superhero films. That's not what I want to do. We'll see how it goes. So it does work for people. I found this channel, Jimmy Champagne or whatever. All he talks about is horror. He does like essay videos of him talking just like this, saying, "Well, here's what I would do with the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot," and he gets the numbers, guys. He gets the numbers because YouTube looks at it. Oh, this is the niche that he does. We're going to send it out to all these people, and I'm getting the impression that the movie news that we cover is too wide of an angle. And he doesn't publish that much that often. Like, look at that. There's a big gap there, 5 months ago to 1 month ago. So he took some time off, and his channel still gets the views. So he takes time to craft these essays. It's not quite what I want to do. But we'll see. Yeah, maybe niche is the way to go. It's coming around. We'll figure it out. Because I like to believe that I have some interesting inputs with all of these things. Like if I change strictly to a movie review, movie reaction channel, then YouTube would put that out. And maybe it's the movie news headlines that is. Maybe that's just not the way to go anymore. No, I like doing it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll have to look at the numbers, try to figure out the balance to it all. All right. That's all the headlines I have, but I was going to do some hit or miss, but I didn't pull any. So, film updates. Let's just take a look. Argyle. The first poster for Matthew Vaughn's Argyle has been released, starring Henry Cavill and Bryce Dallas Howard. Sam Rockwell. Cool. Bryan Cranston. Catherine O'Hara. Samuel L. Jackson. Ariana DeBose. And John Cena. Once you know the suspect, don't let the cat out of the bag. Argyle. Matthew Vaughn. He did X-Men First Class and the Kingsman movies. The Golden Globes will introduce 2 new categories, cinematic and box office achievement. Yes! There has to be some kind of box office. Now, I don't know if that would be like, here are the nominees for best box office achievement. I don't know how that would work. Because obviously you would have the number 1 movie of the year, regardless of whatever it is, whoever earned the most. But maybe you could, I don't know how that would work. Best performance in stand-up comedy. Yeah, I don't know how that would work either. Let's pull that up. Best performance in stand-up comedy. Huh. Titles must have grossed at least $100 million during the release. $100 million of which must have come from the domestic box office, not the worldwide box office, domestic box office. So that's a weird rule to put on there. Don't quite understand that. Streaming films with commensurate viewership will be considered based on data recognized from industry sources. So Netflix, is this an attempt to open up Netflix and all the streaming services numbers? I don't know. No. Your box office, not streaming numbers. Is that what cinematic means? To include the streaming numbers? Best performance in stand-up comedy seems a little straightforward. For comedy specials, streaming and pay-per-view cables. Okay. I still think a lot of people would like to see a stunt category, and a lot of people want to see a casting category. Casting director who put together the cast kind of thing, right? Excuse me. Robert Pattinson for Dior. Wes Anderson's The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar will be released on Netflix tomorrow. That's like that 32-minute short film, right? With Benedict Cumberbatch. Tomorrow, huh? Should we watch it? Ray Fiennes looks so weird there. I don't know, maybe it's the bobby hat that looks... They don't still wear those in the UK, do they? Those hats? The police? No, they don't. They can't. They mustn't, right? I don't know. A new clip from Saw 10 has been released. I don't want to see the new clips. I want to go in there as innocent as possible. May-December. Oh, yeah. They released the trailer for that. They released the trailer for May-December. Let's just take a look at that trailer. That's Julianne Moore and one of my favorite actresses, Natalie Portman. Easy there, James. Let's check it out.
How do you choose your roles?
I want to find a character that's difficult to, on the surface, understand. Were they born or were they made?
Nature versus nurture.
It's such a pleasure to meet you.
You are so sweet. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you for doing this.
Julianne Moore's great, too.
Well, I want you to tell the story right, don't I? You're taller. You look taller on television, but we're basically the same size.
Well, basically the same.
Feels like things just settled down, and now y'all are making a movie.
It's a very complex and human story.
I think it's hard to trust that you're gonna represent Gracie as she was.
I'm gonna try. Do you remember when
So-
we first met?
She's
He
going to
came
be
to the
playing
pet store
her,
looking for a job.
Julianne Moore.
The summer after 6th grade?
Seventh.
So she's there to research the role.
Why do you want to play me?
When they sent me the script, I thought, here is a woman with a lot more to her than I remember from the
See, she's trying to
tabloid.
emulate how she's sitting.
What would make a 36-year-old woman have an affair with a 7th grader?
People,
Ooh,
they like see
what?
me as a
What?
victim.
Hold on, stop. What? 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 Is that what this is about? A teacher that has a relationship with? Oh God. Now that's troubling subject matter for sure. Oi, maybe we can't watch this one together, guys.
I wanted it.
A booby trap, huh?
I already have an
Guys.
idea of what it must have felt like
What?
sneaking around with you. I shouldn't have said that.
Ooh, so she wants to try to taste the goods.
Why would you want to
First
play someone who you
hand.
think is a bad person?
It's the moral gray areas that are interesting.
She's getting on my last nerve. She's just everywhere I look.
I like the twist there where
Why
it starts
can't we talk about it?
to be a little bit
If
more
we're really as in love as we say we are.
gross, but
Insecure people are very dangerous, aren't they?
so Natalie Portman's is kind of like a stalker, turns into stalker kind of thing.
You're crazy.
Crazy. Wow. May, December. Okay. In select theaters in November and on Netflix, December 1st. Let's see what people are saying about it. Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore in Todd Haynes movie. Sign me up. So let me get this straight. An adult woman had an affair with a 7th grader. Yeah. They're still together now. Years later, they're making a movie about it, and now the actress who's playing the woman in that movie is now falling in love with the same person. Yes. Am I reading this right? Yes, that's what the trailers seem to show. It makes me want to gag. It's very different, touchy subject matter for sure. Having seen this movie, this is a good trailer because if you all seen is this, you're not ready for what happens. Well, I'm guessing that it goes down a dark road of, well, first the premise alone is disgusting with the teacher having, but then when she gets crazy, yeah. Ugh. Wow. May, December. I knew that it had some touchy subject matter, but I didn't realize that it got that kind of gross. December 1st on Netflix, guys, with a limited theatrical release in November. What did you guys think about that trailer? Wow. Are you going to check it out? Or maybe the subject matter is a little bit too risque for you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we will talk about it. You're watching Mirror Domains. Booby trap. A booby trap of a movie. Yeah. I'm going to cut that out and put that up on the channel later. Oops. Not images. Not images, James. I want the IMDb. I didn't know that. 20 years after the notorious tabloid romance gripped the nation, a married couple buckles under the pressure of an actress arriving to do research about the film of their past. Natalie Portman looks like she's on point, though, right? May, December. Huh. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Color me intrigued. May, December. Hourglass says. Chris Schober says it looks interesting. Yeah. Blue Beetle is now on digital. You can now rent Shrek's Swamp Airbnb. More Robert Pattinson, Jennifer Lawrence, Jenna Ortega, and Anya Taylor-Joy at Dior in Paris. And Elizabeth Debicki, cool. Well, apparently Robert Pattinson was there as well. Why is that? Why is my page? Oh God! I want to zoom in on that. Where was that? It's right there. Okay, well, we don't need the audio on. Okay, is that Elizabeth Debicki right there? And Anya Taylor-Joy? That's cool. Elizabeth Debicki's like 6 foot something, right? She's tall blonde. Where's Jenna? Okay, there's Jenna right there. That's cool. Oh, that's Rachel Zegler right there. Who's the other one? Rosalia? Don't know who that is. Jennifer Lawrence. Oh, that's Jennifer Lawrence right there. She's got her head turned to the side. I didn't see her right up off the bat. James, what would you rather want for a Halloween reboot? Movie or TV series? Chris Schober asks. Well, as I said when we did that story, I would prefer, if they're going to do like an anthology, make it a TV series. But I would prefer movie. It's got to be movie. If you're doing Michael Myers, do it a movie. If it's an anthology that doesn't always have Michael Myers in it, do it as a series. Okay, so she is talking there. Cool. Jennifer Lawrence. Charlize Theron at Dior. Okay, she's right there too. As much as I like her, I hear some things that she's kind of not nice behind the scenes. But whatever. She's a great actress. And so is Anya Taylor-Joy. It's not Anya Taylor-Joy, guys. It's Anya. She said it herself. She pronounces her name Anya. So that's what we'll do. And look at those gamps. Oh my God. Jenna Ortega. Great actresses all around. All three of them. I would love to see a movie with Anya Taylor-Joy, Jenna Ortega, and Jennifer Lawrence all together. That would be awesome. Archie Madekwe for British Vogue. And who's the other person? Alison Oliver. That's a good photograph. Archie Madekwe. We just saw him in the Gran Turismo movie. Very good movie, guys. Very good. Alison Oliver. Rosamund Pike and Richard E. Grant for British Vogue. Why is it so far out, though? Are they trying to showcase the architecture as well? I do like Rosamund Pike. Do like Richard E. Grant. He's a good actor. What is this, like a smoking jacket kind of thing? A smoking robe? Again, it's not really, these pictures are not really zoomed in on their faces, right? Jacob Elordi. Barry Keoghan in his underpants. If you wanted to see that. Yeah, they're all promoting Saltburn, right? Saltburn. That's one I want to check out. Anya Taylor-Joy. Oh, Gran Turismo's already on digital? God, the turnaround is shocking sometimes. Because that's still in theaters. Isn't it? Phoebe DeNever. Brian Cox. GQ Hype. All right, guys. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is being released worldwide. That brings us full circle. That brings us full circle. What do you guys think about some of these movie news headlines? What do you think about that trailer for May, December? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll chop some of these out and put them up on the channel later on. And yeah, join us tomorrow for Ahsoka Episode 7, Later on this afternoon, we'll be going on to World of Warcraft because it's reset week. We get to see what's in the Great Vault and start a new line of quests. And I am going to start tanking this week. Getting back into tanking. So we'll be running some dungeons. Getting prepped for Season 3 when it comes out and the new raid. And we'll be off to the races with that. And then that's pretty much where this afternoon is going to go. And then this evening, who knows? Maybe we'll watch something. Yeah, everything's up in the air, floating around. I got to lock in our weekly schedules like I used to, right? We'll see. Promising movie news hopefully coming out of actor strike. Now the writers could be sealing the deal for 3 years. Yeah, hopefully. All right, guys, that's it for today. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and I'll see you next time on Mirror Domains.